What are some signs that you're unattractive? Story 1. If you want to know how unattractive you are, try simply telling people you're unattractive and see how they react. Say something factual along the lines of, "I think my social life is made harder by the fact that I'm unattractive. I'm not blaming anyone for it. It's just that first impressions are really important, and attractiveness makes that easier." If you're hot, people will think you're blatantly fishing for compliments. They'll vehemently correct you, "Oh, but you look so good," and might even resent you for it. Can't recommend it, honestly. If you're average, people will correct you sincerely. "You're fine, don't worry, it's a matter of confidence. There's nothing wrong with you." If you're actually unattractive, you'll either get honest confirmation, "Yeah, it must be difficult sometimes," embarrassed deflection, "I don't think appearance matters that much," "Oh, but once people get to know you," or straight up silence. For some reason, physical attractiveness is one of those things that's only okay to acknowledge in one direction, as if it can help people but never hinder them. Story 2. People around you will tell you, both verbally and subliminally. When I was between 15 and 19, I was best friends with someone who constantly got random things for free: meals, movie tickets, even her entire groceries. She acted like it was totally normal and would say things like, "The workers at Trader Joe's don't ever just buy your groceries for you." Meanwhile, whenever we were out in public and people came up to hit on her, they would literally look right through me. No eye contact, no acknowledgement that I even existed. The worst time was when a guy actually apologized to me, like he thought I was going to lose it because he didn't find me attractive. I definitely look a lot different now, and I don't think I'm particularly ugly anymore. But I'm almost 25 and still a virgin, not for lack of trying to lose it. The world around you will tell you if you're unattractive. The signs are all there. You just have to notice them. Most of the time, you don't even have to look that hard. Story 3. Here's how you know you're attractive. You're feeling a little low on energy, so you don't talk much on your own while the whole group is chatting. But if you still feel included, and people subconsciously look toward you for your input, even though you're not one of the most vocal or active members, you're attractive. If you're unattractive and want to be part of group activities, you can't afford to just sit back and observe. You have to be one of the more active participants in the conversation for people to actually see you as part of things. How do I know this? I was once talking to 5 people in a new setting. None of us knew each other beforehand. It was mostly 2 people leading the conversation while the rest chimed in occasionally. Everyone there was pretty attractive. They all ended up exchanging Instagram handles, and I was literally the only one out of the 6 who wasn't asked, probably because I didn't dominate the conversation and only spoke a few times. Story 4. I actually have a story for this one. Right before my first semester of college started, I had to go in for student registration. Since I live in-state, they required us to attend in person. So, I drove 3 hours to my school and went through all the activities, signing up for classes, getting an ID card, and learning how different campus systems worked. When I went to schedule my classes, my counselor looked at my ID photo and flat out said she thought it wasn't great. Then, while I was downstairs registering for classes with my parents in the same building, she happened to run into them and started talking. When she found out they were my parents, she said, "Please ask her to consider retaking her photo. This will stick with her for 4 years." My parents were furious, demanding to know how I could have messed up my photo so badly that the first thing my counselor told them was how awful it was. I was so embarrassed that I refused to show them, but I went back to the ID station to beg for a retake. The replacement fee was $20, so I handed my ID card folded between a $20 bill and pleaded with the man to please retake it. He took one look at it and said, "I'll retake it for free." Story 5. Maybe this applies more to girls, but no one suggests outfits or fashion trends for you. Like, if I'm with a group of girls and one of them has an interview or an event, the others will get excited and start suggesting things like, "Oh, you'd look so good in that dress," or "Get a blue blazer in this cut," or they'll give hairstyle tips. It might sound silly, but I've noticed that when an unattractive and/or overweight friend mentions an event or shopping for clothes, no one offers suggestions on what would suit them or seems genuinely interested in helping them shop. Another sign could be that your friends are all much hotter than you. My aunt was gorgeous, and she once told me that when she was young, her mom advised her to make friends with a fat or ugly girl so she'd always look thinner and prettier by comparison. That kind of advice isn't given so directly nowadays, but I've noticed that many attractive people still keep a few ugly friends around. Almost like charity friends, so they seem less shallow and don't have to deal with as much competition. Story 6. Oh, for crying out loud. What's up with these posts? Beauty is in the eye of the beholder and all that. And honestly, who cares what kids think about attractiveness anyway? Unless you're a creep? Take the most popular, attractive person, and I'd bet you could find plenty of people who think they're nothing special. I don't think it's as much about physical looks as everyone makes it out to be. It's all about how you think and behave. Do you walk around acting standoffish, with a permanent scowl or angry face? Then it's no surprise, Sherlock, that people don't approach you. It's not about your looks, it's about how you feel about yourself. Do you love or even like yourself? If you truly do, deep down, that confidence will radiate outward and attract people to you. Would you want to approach or even be in the same room with someone who looks like they don't want to be there? Plenty of ugly people of all genders have no problem dating. Story 7. I gained 35 pounds in college after falling into a video game addiction. One night, I went out with a jock friend of mine to his favorite sports bar and decided to ask a girl if she wanted a drink. As soon as she saw me walking toward her, before I could even say a word, she loudly screamed, "Yo, get that thing away from me," and hid behind her friend. Everyone in the bar heard her and turned to stare at me. That experience traumatized me and completely shattered my self-esteem. On the bright side, the next day, I joined a Muay Thai gym and found peace through training. It ended up leading me into a wonderful new chapter of my life, eventually getting me into the best shape I've ever been in and even competing in amateur fights in Thailand. I'm now married to the most beautiful woman I've ever met. This happened 15 years ago, and while I no longer struggle with self-esteem the way I used to, that memory still haunts me from time to time. Story 8. Attractiveness is more than just looks, and it's not always easy to define. Here are a few signs that might make you feel unattractive, but remember, they're not the whole story. Lack of confidence. Confidence is key. If you constantly second-guess yourself, slouch, or avoid eye contact, it can make you seem less attractive. People are naturally drawn to those who carry themselves with assurance, so working on your confidence can make a huge difference. Negative feedback or lack of interest. If you get negative feedback about your appearance or little attention on dating apps, it can be discouraging. But remember, attraction is subjective. What one person finds unattractive, another might find irresistible. Poor hygiene or grooming. Things like bad breath, body odor, messy hair, or ill-fitting clothes can make anyone seem less appealing. Good hygiene and grooming go a long way in shaping how people perceive you. Feeling ignored in social situations. If you often feel overlooked, it's easy to assume it's because of your looks, but sometimes it's about engagement. If you're quiet or withdrawn, people might simply not notice you as much. Constant comparisons. Comparing yourself to others, especially on social media, can make you feel inadequate. Keep in mind that most people only show their best and often edited versions online, so it's not a fair comparison. Self-perception and body language. How you see yourself matters. Negative self-talk often shows up in your posture and expressions, slouching, avoiding eye contact, fidgeting. When you carry yourself like you believe in your worth, others start to believe it too. Story 9. It's a good thread. For me, the signs come from within. There was this social awkwardness from my youth that I never really worked through. If someone complimented me on anything, really, I would downplay it or joke, "You might need these bifocals more than me." You get so used to rejection that inclusion starts to feel like work. Sometimes you just want to tell people who compliment you that they don't need to bother being polite. A lot of people who see themselves as unattractive are actually quite beautiful. Maybe I just see beauty differently than most, but maybe that's a sign, too. Self-deprecation isn't humility. If someone says, "I think you're pretty," and you reject it, you're basically telling them their judgment is wrong. You don't believe it yourself, so you assume nobody else can either. That's a sign. I have a friend who used to be very overweight, and she lost a lot of weight. I adore her. She's truly beautiful. We're both married to other people, and nothing romantic will ever happen. But one day I was taking photos at a gathering, and she said, "Make sure not to get my ugly fat ass from the bad side." Now, imagine if someone else had said that about her in your presence. Would you tolerate it? I wouldn't. Nobody talks trash about my friends, not even themselves. The worst insults we ever throw are the ones we aim inward. Story 10. Well, I've kind of always had that feeling, considering I can actually see myself in the mirror. But I also used to hear constant praise from my mom and her friends about how beautiful I was, which I never really believed. But sometimes it would boost my confidence enough that I didn't feel ugly for a while. Still, not a single guy has ever called me pretty and meant it. No one has ever had a crush on me. No guy has ever tried to talk to me just because he wanted to get to know me. Not once. And today was another humbling experience, actually. My friends and I were at a bar, and I met two cute guys. I was a little tipsy and feeling bold, so I invited them to come hang out with us. They completely ignored me and ended up making out with my friends instead. So now I know for sure that sometimes confidence just isn't enough if you're simply unattractive. Sorry if this doesn't make total sense. I'm still a bit drunk, lol. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, activate the notification bell, and share a similar story or anything you'd like to say in the comments. See you next time.